put the watch up for a second.
Yeah, go ahead. And just make sure this is going through. And then mute it. Come on, so I can mute it. Goodness gracious. All right. Welcome. Everyone's thoughts on the episode. All right. Welcome, everybody, to an all-new episode of Marvel Cinematic Review. We are back. It's been a while. Since what? Was it What If? What If was
What If?
What If was the last one. And we are finally back. We told you guys we would be back. We're back for Tia's favorite superhero, not actor, but her favorite superhero ever to breathe air, Hawkeye. We're back.
I don't know why you're lying right now. I don't know why you're lying.
Literally, you said yesterday, Jawan, don't tell anybody. But I actually don't like John Bernthal or the Punisher. I prefer Hawkeye and Jeremy Renner. That's what you told me. I wasn't supposed to blab my mouth, but I did it.
And I guess with that is the last my last day at GVN. It's been a ride. He's starting these shenanigans already, John. We just got back.
You're gonna have a full 4 to 5 weeks of me just spewing lies about how much you love Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. So there you go. You guys made me sit through it in the entire Falcon and the Winter Soldier season. So
seriously,
you will enjoy it, Tia, for Hawkeye.
But it's not like you masked your disdain for Anthony Mackie that whole entire time.
I did not.
You were very out about it.
Yes, I feel as though it's not good for the body to hold in hate.
Apparently there are reports that say that Scarlett Johansson has like a new project with Marvel going on. Yes. So I saw that. I was very happy. It made the whole Hawkeye thing so much better.
Yeah, mainly because I heard it was rumored to be called Heaven on Earth, and it's like a comedy where it's like her, Tony, Obadiah Stane.
Oh wow. You really had me going for a second. I was like, wait
you really did have me going too.
I was like, okay. Wow.
Oh, you guys don't like that? What's the dead up to now? That'd be the comedy? No? Okay. All right. So for the next few weeks leading up to almost the end of the year, we will be talking about Hawkeye. And as you guys see, this show is mainly about Clint, but it's specifically about a newcomer to the MCU, not the Marvel world, to the MCU, in Kate Bishop. Trayvon, I want to start off with you. And don't worry, guys. I'm waiting for more people to get in, and then I'm throwing you guys my new theory train. But I want to start off with you, Trayvon.
Okay.
Did you enjoy that opening sequence going back to 2012 and seeing it? Excuse me, because we're used to seeing the attack on New York from a God's eye view, right? Mm-hmm. We're in it, right? Mm-hmm. We've never seen it from someone else's point of view. So how did you take that in?
Well, I mean, I thought when you said opening sequence, I thought you meant like the opening credits of the first episode. Yeah, I want to talk about that first. So I really liked that. Like when I first saw it, I was like, dang, this is long. But then I realized what they were doing. I was like, oh, okay, they're trying to show she's skilled in many areas. So this is pretty cool. I like what they're doing here. And then we got to them showing, I was like, okay, it's at 2012. That's okay. It took me a second, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, what happened in 2012? I was like, oh yeah. when the thing came across, I said, oh, okay, this is about to be bad. So I do like that. I do like how they've been doing this very successfully so far with how they did this, how they did Mysterio, how they show Mysterio was, back working for Tony when he gave all them kids at MIT, I believe, those scholarships. And I was like, it's cool how they're using it in different ways and how you can't, you're like, oh, that's not possible. But no, it fits. It fits. So it's like, okay, I mean, of course stuff is happening all around the city. How we know, it could be a lot more other people being damaged by this and seeing things. And
right.
I thought it was a perfect way to set her up and for her to see Hawkeye and have that oh, he saved me type of thing a long time ago. That's cool. I want to be like him. I thought that was a really cool way to do it. Sad about her dad, but other than that, I thought it was a really cool way to do it.
Yeah, and T, I want to ask you, well, to piggyback off what you're saying really quickly, Trayvon, what's cool about her seeing Hawkeye in that perspective is there's a lot of that one scene of just Hawkeye taking on the alien invasion that she didn't see. She didn't see where he had no more arrows and had to think on his feet to grab that one arrow to use as the iconic shot right there. Which, by the way, this show is from the comic book from Matt Fraction. And the scene that we see of Hawkeye falling and shooting the arrow, this scene here, or this part here, is actually the first page of that comic, is him doing that iconic fall with the arrow shot. But no, so she didn't see him, thinking on his feet to grab the arrow and then escape. She also didn't see when he lands in the building how painful it was. He couldn't even move at the moment. He was laying there for a while. So there's just a few cuts from that scene that weren't in it. But Tia, I wanted to ask you, because everybody's talking about this. Some people are just like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's just whatever. But this very much matters, and I'll get into why. But Tia, did you sense something was fishy about two parents went down, one parent came up, and then when asked about it, there was no mention about what happened to Dad?
Yeah, I'm really happy that you mentioned that, because I just wanted to piggyback on what Trayvon was saying. I too was watching that opening sequence going, this is very long. This is unusually long. But as he said, it was showing you her development, how athletic she is, because that is a lot when you have, say, some of these heroes that don't have powers and they're not, say, a trained assassin. It's like, okay, but how are they? Like, if I tomorrow decided to be a vigilante, I don't have any of those skills. So it's right. Showing how she was. So I like that. Whatchamacallit. I thought that was fishy. As you said, two parents go on only one parent. We didn't hear a scream at all. We didn't hear a crashing of anything. So it's not even like you could say, oh, well, the Chitauri crashed in and that's how it happened. There was no noise. He literally just poofed into thin air. And that, we're only 2 episodes in, but that is something that very much got swept under the rug, where I'm like, hold on. I know New York is being under attack right now, but no one's questioning this. And no shade to Vera Farmiga, because I think she is a phenomenal actress, but I am so suspicious of her. I just don't feel like put her in a position unless you're putting her there to be a suspicious person.
Right. And to add a little bit of context to that for you guys listening, in the comics that this is based off of, they actually swapped it. So in the comics, her dad was the one that she didn't have the close relationship with. And she had a close relationship with her mom. Her mom and her dad went out of town, and only the dad came back. Now, the one thing that is accurate with the dad is that the dad does come from money. So when you see Eleanor tell Kate, like, look, a lot of people think they're invincible because they come from money. You also come from money. So she's alluding to the fact that she does not come from money, but what's her name's dad did.
Yeah.
And not to interrupt, that was a great line where she said, those who have money, those who are young, and you're both. I like the context of that. I thought that was a really great line.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really cool twist for them to go that route of saying like the comics was the dad and then the dad lived, but the mom was gone. Let's twist this on its head because I think this is multi-layered. And part of what I think Vera Farmiga's character is right that I hate the screen. Is right here. Right here, Madam Mask. I'll get into that later. Welcoming in Joel and Dom. What's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
How you doing?
Dom, I want to go to you. So we literally just started. So you both didn't miss anything. Trayvon was breaking down the opening sequence of the 2012. Tia was breaking down the disappearance of Dad, and then obviously his death. Dom, I want to go to you. First of all, did you notice? Because I know you, Dom. You watch it how I do. You like to freeze frame when you're given time to. Did you notice that the school that they were at was named after Obadiah Stane?
You know what? I saw something. I didn't get a chance to go back to it, but something like when it flashed in front, I was like, I'll come back to that later. I knew I saw something.
Yeah, I appreciated that because when she destroyed the bell tower, part of me was just like, somewhere Tony Stark is smiling, where he's just like, if only you guys knew how much Obadiah Stane sucked.
Yo, and the bell tower threw me off. Like, that arrow didn't wait. I mean, I don't know what caused it to collapse in that way. I watched that part twice, and I was like, why did it break? I don't get it.
Rusted. It was rusted out.
It must have been. It must have been ready to go. That bell must have been sitting there like, yo, if one more thing hit me, but Dom, no. So my question to you is, obviously now we fast forward. Kate is a lot older now than she was in the opening sequence. Clearly, she's for the thrill, right? She has an extreme confidence in her abilities. But what my main question is to you heading into this is, we do see the little animation of right after the funeral, her mom training her in every possible facet, right? Yeah. You see her mom training her in archery, not training her like her mom's doing it, but her mom's overseeing everything. So like when you saw that, like how cool was that to see how methodical Kate became to where she needed to be the best at literally everything?
No, that was one of my favorite parts of the episode, was just the fact that I know you can look at it as they use that to not have to deep dive into the whole growing up part, which is true, but also, we don't need to see that because, they did it in such a way where like, okay, we get like, she's prolific in everything to the point where her mom is like, oh, you got another one, wants her to get rid of, and she's like, no, like, I like those. She's like, yeah, me too. Like, it clearly there's something extra that she is being molded for. Or maybe it was being molded for and plans didn't quite come through because she is like, she's hard-headed. She's like, oh, don't touch the red button? Cool. I'll just shoot it from across the room. I won't touch it. Technically, I didn't touch it. Which I love her. She's like the rebel. She's like she's technically the bad kid. She's like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And I'm gonna bat my eyes and hopefully get away with it. And that she's kind of like a tomboy, and there's a lot of things to like that. Like, she's not what I thought she was going to be going into it, which I think is why I liked it so much. But yeah, the opening sequence was great. I loved it because almost if we weren't who we are, I wouldn't watch it. You know what I mean? If I was just somebody like turn it on, I'd be like, oh, it's like the credits, cool. I'm gonna go get a drink real quick. But you would miss like a big part of the show, essentially. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
that would have been your time to like go get your snacks and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that, Dom, because it's not something like really important, but it's cool. Yeah. In that little animation is a shot of Kate underestimating her opponent in the in what is the jousting match.
Yeah.
So she's kind of toying with them, and then she gets stabbed. And then it's kind of foreshadowing when she challenges Duquesne.
Yeah.
And then she's literally kind of baiting him, but he's ultimately baiting her.
Right.
So then you see when she gets hit, she then makes sure she perfects herself in jousting to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Fencing.
Fencing. When I say jousting, I'm sorry, fencing.
No horse. I was like, wait. I was like, I don't remember this. When does she do jousting?
Isn't jousting with horses?
Yeah, it's like the medieval times thing.
There was a horse somewhere here in this episode. I'm not crazy.
You're thinking of Game of Thrones or something like that.
I must be. There must have been a crossover because we now got Kit Harington. That must be what I was thinking.
Or you could think of King Arthur, Merlin, scouts and all that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all there. Joel, so my question to you is, so obviously Kate being suspended from school comes home. And as we see, her relationship with her mom isn't the greatest. Because I know that I don't live with my mom, but I know if my mom secretly got married and never gave me a phone call, the relationship is just like, what? It's like I'm only your son, I only deserve the phone call at least. But just in how they interact with each other, Joel, mother and daughter, and then bringing in Duquesne, did that all kind of just seem fishy? Everyone involved, the mom, the new stepdad, it all just kind of seemed like there's a lot of fishiness going on here.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing seemed like behind her back. Obviously, she's getting everything secondhand. Getting the news about the wedding from Armand. I'm sorry, right? Was it?
Yes.
Yeah. Annoying, man.
Annoying Armand.
Wait, really quickly, Joel, before you continue, there was a part where a news reporter was reporting news. Was that when Clinton and them were watching it at home on TV? Like when she became Ronin, they were watching that on TV, right?
Clint was watching.
Okay, yeah. Remind me about that reporter when we get to that part, because that's a very interesting connection that really no one's thinking about. So just remind me, guys, when we get back.
Reporter?
Yeah, the reporter. But back to you, Joel. So it's a whole bunch of fishiness, secrecy, fishiness, corruption, possibly. It's chaos when she gets home.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't know, because like she just gets there. She's not really thinking much of it. She's like now she has free time. She doesn't have to worry about school.
Right.
And yeah, she gets there and they find out. Well, when she goes to the dinner, or they go to the, I guess whatever the fuck they were at the party. Mm-hmm. She dresses in a suit instead of the red dress that her mom wanted her to dress in. And it's funny because the guy, Armand, actually talks about it. He's like, hey, you like, I hope you didn't wear a dress to the wedding because you're outdoing me in the suit. Which is really funny. But yeah,
yes, she was.
She kind of
was so outdoing him. That's it.
She was outdoing everybody in that suit.
Yeah, that's it. She looked good in the suit, which is weird, but cool.
It was weird. It was just like, should you look that good in the suit?
Yeah, she's killing it. But yeah, a whole lot of weird shit going on there. There was like a secret fucking thing going on downstairs, I guess. Auction.
Yep.
That obviously not everyone knew about until she started getting curious and started looking, snooping around. And it's funny that she was wearing almost exactly what the waiters were wearing, so she fit in perfectly and pulled it off. And what was his name? Gary. She actually just pulled it out of her ass and was right. That shit was funny too.
No. See, okay, that's a misconception. A lot of people think that when she enters the kitchen, the lady is saying, "Give this to Gary."
Oh, cool.
So she hears that, and then it just sticks with her, and it's Gary, like, right. I'm gonna use this Gary line if I need to.
And it worked. Obviously, it worked. Like,
it worked.
And then Gary shows up because you don't know what he looks like.
That was funny. They were just like, "This is Gary," and she's just like, "Oh." Like, yikes. Okay.
You don't even remember my name. This is the problem. I
quit. She quick with it. I like that.
Yeah, she's very quick with it.
I really enjoyed that scene too. But yeah, everything seemed a little off. We're seeing Armand arguing with Eleanor over some bullshit that we obviously don't know about yet. She's keeping that hush hush. So there's obviously some, bullshit going on.
Mm-hmm. And right then and there, it lets you know everything you need to know about Eleanor. The fact that he says, "Oh, I have powerful friends too." It's just like, oh, okay, all right, okay. And it's interesting because Eleanor is the head of a security firm, we've only in the MCU only heard of now 2 security firms. One of them is based out in San Fran with Luis. So that's interesting now that we have 2 security firms.
Ex-con.
Yes.
And,
A lot of people, I'm sorry, go ahead, Theo.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, I was just gonna say, it's funny because a lot of people were saying like, "Oh, wouldn't it be dope if the 2 competing come?" And I'm like, well, one's all the way in San Francisco. Like, we have no idea that they've outsourced past just San Francisco. But if they were to
nothing
New
on
York,
this one though.
would you say?
I said the one in San Fran got nothing on this one. We see what Kate's doing.
Oh, heck no!
Every chance she felt
no.
like it. I was like, oh, that's not invasion privacy at all. Hi.
Hello. Yeah, no, it's definitely different for sure on many levels. And I'm sure she would like some access to some of that PIM technology for sure. Yeah. But yeah, so let's go back around. Oh no, go ahead, T. I'm sorry.
Well, I wanted to say really quickly that again, like Vera Farmiga's Eleanor is like so suspicious, right? Because everything, what I've said before, and like now, you know, we have it where we've not been shown her to be, say, not a good mother, right? You know, it seems like Kate has a pretty decent, okay relationship with her, I guess, as far as, you know, relationships amongst rich people go. But the fact that Armand's like father dislikes her so much and everything, we're not really given real context and everything. I feel as if that adds to the whole, okay, what's going on with the mom, you know?
Yep.
Like it's just to me like one thing after another that just makes me suspicious about her.
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you. There's something there, and for him to see it and just go, look, we're criminals, but we're not her kind of criminal. So to be a criminal that is such a criminal, it makes other criminals go, whoa, like we're not that. You know what I'm saying? We'll rob a bank, but she's a whole nother level. So I thought that was very interesting. Now, let me get to some of these comments before we go any further. Renner is great. Renner is on a roll. For anyone who is also watching his show on Mayor of it's not I can never remember it because what's her name came out with a show on HBO Max called
similar
Mayor of Eastwood or something like that, and it's just like it's too much. But he is a main character in another
Kingstown,
show.
Isn't it Kingstown?
Kingstown, yes.
And hers is Easton or East,
yeah,
East, whatever.
Both phenomenal shows. Check that show out when you guys get a chance. Yes, so absolutely. Hawkeye was never a favorite of mine, but I've enjoyed the first 2 episodes. I wonder in the opening if Clint saved her on purpose, or if he didn't know he had no idea he saved her.
We didn't know either. Trust me, we were watching.
Yeah, he was just saving New York at that point. It wasn't.
Can you imagine if like the Hulk saved her instead, and she's like, "I'm gonna be green when I grow up."
right. Like, Mom, find me Bruce Banner's number. I want to be big and green.
like of all the people for her to see and be like, "That's cool." It's like,
yeah,
you could have seen anyone else. You know?
I mean, look, it's hilarious when you think about it because obviously they're not going to do this. But picture when we get Young Avengers and all of them have the same stories for the respective people that are taking over. It's like that day I was by my window, it exploded. I saw him. I wanted that. Because according to the musical, Ant-Man was there, so even his daughter can go, yeah, it happened to me.
That was so great, like, because you know, I really like Broadway plays, but I cringed a little because I'm like, yeah, this is kind of how it is. And I love them just throwing Ant-Man, and Clint's just like, that guy wasn't even there. Wasn't even there.
I was there. I don't have to pay attention.
What? By the way,
watch this.
Can I just say, Clint has the hack, because whenever someone's talking to you, the ability to just be like, yeah, what happened at work? That's so crazy. You're not hearing a word they're saying. He got the hack. Good job, Clint. Let's see what else we got here. what's the vest made of? Also, I wonder if it's the same material like Shang-Chi. I don't know what vest you're referring to. If you guys here know what vest that is, let me know.
She had dragon scales. I don't think they got that.
So I don't think we saw anything with dragon scale on it.
I don't know what vest we're talking about. What vest are we talking about?
I have no idea. That's why I don't.
Oh yeah, I don't know either.
Ronan's costume, I guess.
Yeah, let us know what you're talking about, listener Jim. Mr. E says, I seen episode 1, thought it was all right. I haven't seen episode 2 though. Thoughts on the musical? The musical, because it was meant to be kind of just like over the top,
yeah.
Crazy. It's fun. It's absolutely fun.
I really hope that some way we can find out that like Kingo's the one who like produced it. Because I was like, how do they know all the details to what was going on? Who told them this?
Bro, can I just say that throughout the MCU, people who weren't in certain events sometimes have so much fucking detail. It's insane. It's like, bro, there were no news reporters. There were no cameras. How do you know exactly what happened in that moment? Like, I even remember in WandaVision when they were like, yeah, Captain Marvel stood toe-to-toe with Thanos. It's just like, how do you know that? No one here was part of that. How do you know that?
Well,
it's like in Dragon Ball Z when they did the tournament and they have the little cameras like floating around. We didn't see it, but they had drones going on.
You know what it was, Tia?
It's the best way.
We didn't even think about this. Stupid us. Kingo's camera guy. He's
there you go.
He's always working. He was somewhere on like a crane, just like bent over, just like, I'm gonna make sure I get all of this.
Oh yeah, Kingo was definitely sitting there eating like popcorn, going, "This is gonna be great for my next movie."
But yeah, when they said that in WandaVision, I'm just like, how do you know? Like he said it like he was right there. Like, yeah, she stood toe to toe with Thanos, and it's just like, I don't know how you know that. And I don't know how anyone that was part of that battle would have went home and said, bro, Captain Marvel.
Maybe they drag Clint and Sam in and like, you have to tell us what happened because everybody else is gone. Like, we ain't pulling Wanda in here.
I feel like Clint wouldn't say anything. Like, I feel like Clint wouldn't say it.
Sam might.
Yeah, Sam 100% is a snitch. Yeah,
that's just because you don't.
Rhodey is in the government, so maybe he just.
Oh yeah, he probably had to be debriefed. You're right. You're right. Yep.
Rhodey likes his stories, you know.
Boom. He does. Boom. Yeah, the boom story. You're right.
Yeah.
All makes sense.
Let's see. Mr. E says, "Oh, and Thanos was right. I don't know how, but he was definitely right about something." Apparently somebody
didn't someone point out Clint has like a mug that said Thanos is Clint, how do you have that?
It was written
how do you have that? I know, but like Clint,
why would you have that?
Why? Yeah. We lost Natasha. I don't appreciate this.
You want to know why he has that cup? Because secretly he didn't love Natasha. Listener Jim says, at first I thought it was Fight Club going on. At first I thought it was Fight Club going on in the basement. Yeah, that would have been actually hilarious.
Another fucking hidden fight tournament.
And listener Jim said he is referring to Ronan's vest. He's asking, how did it survive the fire? I don't know. We don't know what it was.
Movie magic.
It could have been
a better question is, how can everybody fit this suit? That's the real question.
Yeah.
It didn't fit.
To be fair, I never questioned that because that's just a Hollywood shtick. Remember in Falcon and Winter Soldier where they're walking and she's just like, "I got clothes for you guys," and she's like, "How? How do you know their measurement, Sharon?" Like she's just like, "I have clothes for you, and they'll fit perfectly."
They did
muscular men.
They did this same thing in Age of Ultron. With Wanda and Pietro, they're like, "Here you go, we got some clothes for you."
That's true.
That conveniently fit.
Even the shoes. He was wearing Clint's shoes. And he's like, they just so happen to fit. It's cool. It's no problem. Who cares? All right, let's move on. Right, let's move on. Trivana, I did catch what you said. She just had clothes for sexy strapping men. Anytime a sexy strapping man comes in, I had a shirt that would fit you perfectly.
I mean,
It's like, man, all I have is
she had her fun, I'm sure. I mean,
that's possible. That's possible. All right. Let's move on. So obviously we broke down, so we got to the point to where we're now in the auction. Which I told you guys ahead of time, I was really hoping this would be the auction that we got in the comics. It was not. There was no incriminating evidence on Hawkeye. There was none of that. But I was hoping for it. I swear, to the last second of that scene, I was just like, it could happen. But I did enjoy this scene. Kate Bishop kind of just springing into action. I enjoyed Duquesne taking the sword, and then us later finding out someone was murdered by a sword.
Yep.
Excuse me. I thought was extremely interesting.
He did it.
Because it looks like clearly the motive was to frame Ronin for that end. Because I'm like, you have millions of swords. You could have literally taken any sword. But the fact that you took a sword that night and then went and stabbed someone is interesting.
But they didn't plan on Ronin showing up, like someone in costume. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh no, right. I'm just saying the fact that you took a sword that night and then that same night you stabbed someone.
We don't know for sure it was that
I think he just wanted a sword that wasn't tied to him. Like, so he
but the fact that it was a sword is kind of iffy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. But again, him taking the sword is obvious because he loves swords. So it's not like, why did he take this? He loves swords.
It also makes you the number one suspect. Like,
exactly. Yeah. Which is why, though, I think it's not him because it's just too obvious.
Yeah,
I think it's Eleanor. She had all the reason to kill that Duquesne rather than.
If we're playing Clue, she's also a very major suspect.
It was Eleanor all along.
He wanted
it
the
was
money.
Eleanor all along. Move aside, Agatha.
Those two would definitely be the biggest suspects.
Would you say, Trayvon?
He wanted the inheritance stuff. When he said the money be mine, like one day.
No, for sure. But they're a married couple, so I very much think it was a win-win.
We're not married yet.
I'm sorry. They're an engaged couple. I'm sorry. I think it was very much, I get the money, you get the power. Like, he's another power figure that you're wiping out. So there's another vacuum for her to fill.
Family.
Right. Right. All right. So my question is, because this is a question that me and Joel were literally just talking about like an hour ago. So Tia, I'm going to start off with you. We know that they're actually called the jumpsuit Draculas, but for this show they call them the jumpsuit mafia.
They're still calling the tracksuit
mafia. Tracksuit mafia. I'm sorry. No, in the comics though they call them tracksuit Dracula.
They also call them mafia. It's not just Dracula.
In the comics? Oh, I thought they only called them the Draculas. So my question for you is, Tia, they were there for the watch. Only the watch, everything else was just secondary. What do you think that watch is?
That is a good question that I did not put any thought into. So
it's a watch.
It's a watch.
Yeah, but no, it being a watch, I get. But I'm just more curious as to what the importance of blowing up an auction just to get the watch. Yeah. It obviously means something to someone.
Right.
Very curious.
Right.
It's got to do more than tell time, right? You got to match
it. It has to be.
I mean, it's got to be like. Didn't he mention about like the tower being sold, and maybe that watch gets you into some kind of vault or something? I don't know.
Well, I'll say this: we know one thing: Tony Stark loved making watches into weapons. So we don't know if this watch does something, has something, is something.
Maybe it has tech in it that we don't know about.
Right, because here's the funniest thing: it's an auction, right? It's hard to believe that if this is a regular time-telling watch, it was going to sell in this auction where there's swords and other kinds of weapons. So clearly, it is something or has something hidden inside of it.
Black market auction.
It said Avengers Compound on the little tag.
Right.
It did, right?
Oh yeah. It's got to open something, or it's got to be some kind of gateway to something else.
Has to be. We're looking so much into it. Watch the next episode. They just go, "Thank you. I lost this watch when they arrested me that day. I didn't look at my father's watch.
It's at this point where I'm like, we spent so long like theorizing things in WandaVision that I'm like, I'm just gonna take a step back and I'm just gonna watch everything. And then when it's done, then we can dissect and everything. You know what I'm saying? But it's really.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it is funny that it's like the Avengers clearly need better cleanup because it seems like all the time they're just leaving their shit everywhere for anyone to grab. It's like no one is listen, I know that unfortunately Tony is dead, but like Happy, Pepper, like what's going on, guys? Why are we just leaving things afoot?
But it's funny because remember, Tony did create a cleanup crew for that specific thing. Mm-hmm. But I assume when he died, they were just like, oh shit, I don't know who's still paying us. Pepper, you still paying us? Like, I don't know. So I'm not coming to work.
Happy goes in and is like, did you remember to pay? Oh no.
Like, shit. Oh, I knew it was something. Completely forgot.
When I thought about the watch, I just thought it was the watch from Civil War. The one he pulled the glove out of.
It's not that watch because his was more fancier than that. But that's the point I was making. He loves making weapons out of literally anything he has on him. So it could be one of those weaponized watches. Look, here's the thing. Eleanor is into security, right? Being into security, it's not a long bridge from security to technology. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's not way out of reach to think that she wants that.
Look at the app they use. It's pretty fancy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Pretty intrusive.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah. If we know anything from the MCU, they don't give a damn about privacy. They don't care about your privacy. I mean, hell, they were creating a rap sheet for Doctor Strange before he even became Doctor Strange. They're just like,
that's true.
I'm looking out for you. And it's just, I'm not even Doctor Strange yet. I don't care. Something with your hand.
I remember that being the big thing when Civil War came out. Someone's like, they said Stephen Strange. It's like,
no, that was Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and it was weird. It was just like
such a moment.
Yeah.
What I just hear?
It was interesting.
Just like
there were a few other
the guy that crawls. I remember that time. Remember they didn't say somebody crawl at walls or something in Ant-Man?
Yes.
I was like, wait a minute. I was like, what did you say?
They were fully going into it. I mean,
that was fun.
They even made a mention of a character I don't think we'll ever get in Cho. In Winter Soldier. Remember, Joel, they were talking about the one kid out there.
We don't know what they're talking about, but from Iowa, some kid in Iowa, valedictorian or some shit.
Yeah, they were going all over the place, and
they weren't very clear.
No, they were shooting all their shots. They were just like, "Hey, in case we can't come back, here's all of our shots." All right, let's move on. So I was very intrigued with how Kate was fighting. She was handling herself, extremely well. And I know training in certain forms of karate or whatever is one thing, but actually being able to implement it as smoothly as she did, I loved. The choreography was amazing in that little wine cellar. So I truly enjoyed that. So then we obviously get out of this moment and she's chasing the tracksuit mafia. When we come across in the MCU, it is No Name, because they have not named this dog yet. But in the comics, he is Lucky the pizza dog. So it is very interesting that the dog was chasing the tracksuit mafia, but he looks like he kind of just landed in Kate's lap. Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting.
Stole the watch, right? Did he not steal the watch?
Yes, because I think in the comics it was Clint's dog, I believe. So I find it very interesting
he found that dog in the comic books.
I thought so.
Yeah, he got run over, and he's the one. He saved that dog.
Right.
It was dying. Yeah, that's what happened.
Because Clint didn't have many people. In that comic.
Just the people in the apartment. That's
right. That was it. That was it. Which, by the way, shout out to the Marvel Avengers game. They made a nod to that in the DLC for Hawkeye.
They did.
When he went back home. Yeah. And it was just the apartment, and that's really all Clint had to himself was the apartment.
I think Lucky was in that too.
Lucky wasn't it? Yep. But all right, so we get so this is the scene now that I was saying to remind me about. So we get, obviously, Ronan is on the street chasing down the tracksuit mafia, and it becomes breaking news, and Clint and his family are watching it. Clint's paying very close attention, but the news anchor that was reporting the news, the reason why I said this was interesting, not important, but interesting, he is the only connection we have to the Netflix shows. He was the same reporter in all of those Netflix shows. So I thought that was interesting. I thought that was maybe like...
I did not catch that.
Yeah.
I did not catch that at all.
I need to...
Listen, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I need something to happen. If it's going to happen, it needs to happen. This whole like teasing thing is too much for me.
We're very close.
Is Charlie Cox in Spider-Man No Way Home, or is he not? Is Kingpin, is Vincent D'Onofrio coming into Hawkeye, or is he not? I need something to happen because now I'm tired. I'm tired of
this, Tia. I'm going to tell you this. What's going to stress you between now and the very last episode of Hawkeye is the fact that this story that they're using, fragments of it are all Kingpin. Same way I told you, fragments of WandaVision were all Mephisto.
Yeah, we didn't get Mephisto, and I'm not and I wasn't emotionally attached to Mephisto, but I'm emotionally attached to this. And it's like, if it's gonna happen, let it happen. I'm so tired of just seeing like every day on Twitter. I'm sorry, side rant. Every day on Twitter, Charlie Cox and Kingpin are trending. And I'm like, ooh, did Variety or Deadline or one of the big ones finally confirm? No, it's just regular.
Did you see what Vincent did? Did you see what Vincent did last week?
I did. But I don't trust that either. He could just be, adding fuel to the fire and everything.
I 100% believe he is. I think if there's anything that we can believe, it's that if Vincent D'Onofrio is not in this series, he's trying to talk himself into whatever else comes next. Because that's for sure. Because he was hyping up this series, saying like, "Oh, it's really good. It looks really good." And it's
I was telling Juwan, I'm like, if we get him, it won't be until like the last 2 episodes, possibly. 1 to 5,
which is fine. He could be in the last 5 seconds of the show. I'd be perfectly fine. Because at least that shows me that there, just like when we saw J.K. Simmons at the end of Far From Home. It's like it showed me that they're at least willing to bring others over. So even if we get something for 5 seconds, it shows me that at least they're willing to acknowledge the Netflix universe and bring them in.
Yeah. Well, if there's one thing we know that if Feige's whole thing is it just has to fit, right? Because Tom Holland came out and confirmed what we've been discussing for 1.5 years now, which is No Way Home was not supposed to be what it is. It was supposed to be the original story that we heard rumors about with Craven and whatnot. And because of COVID, it kind of rearranged different movies and shows. So in that, they then landed on, well, this could be perfect. So he doesn't mind bringing back people, bringing in people. It just has to flow with the story. So that's why I said, enter Hawkeye. You introduce a character like Echo, who is extremely tied to Kingpin. He murdered her father, blamed it on who? Hawkeye.
But he raised it. He raised that's another thing. He raised it. Like
then gave her her own show.
They gave her her own show because I do believe she will be a borderline anti-hero, and it could be her having to try to take down Kingpin.
Yeah.
And I would not mind if someone who lost one sense, who had to enhance the others, comes across someone else and had to enhance the others. Especially if she's not quite there yet. Like she's not fully Echo, and Matt is what kind of helps her along. Oh, I would love that. But anyway, so obviously we come across Lucky the pizza dog, and then it looks like Kate is in a ball of trouble. Tracksuit Mafia corners her in. In comes Clint, as Tia would say, the greatest hero in Marvel.
You need to stop this. People who are first-time viewers are going to be confused. They're going to be like, oh, she really likes Hawkeye. No,
you
stop
do.
this.
You do.
There's nothing wrong with liking Hawkeye.
Maybe I like the Kate Bishop Hawkeye. We'll say that. not the Clinton Barton Hawkeye.
Joel, this looks like it's it's for you, not really, but funny for you. But the stepdad seems like a 70s porn star than a serious threat. I have hopes a certain tall, bald-headed kingpin shows up based off from what I hear. And then this one's for you, Joel, for sure. Listener Jim believes the dog could be a Skrull.
Of course. I don't see why. Obviously, everyone and everything is a Skrull.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm already hearing on Twitter now people think Eleanor is a Skrull. And to be fair, with Secret Invasion coming, someone's got to be a Skrull between now and then.
I have no doubt.
Somebody has to be.
I do not look forward to those days.
Anytime there's a slightest bit, like that person's a little off, Skrull.
Skrull.
It's like, no.
That's what I was afraid of. You don't understand. My biggest fear before they were introduced was like, as soon as they're introduced, everyone's going to be a Skrull and no one's going to want. It's going to be so annoying. And we're here.
Look, it was the first thing. It was the first thing people said when they saw that first trailer of No Way Home. Oh, Strange is off. He's a Skrull. And it's just like, why did you jump to that? Like, why did you leap all the way to that? I don't understand. But anyway, so I want to welcome in Jamie. What's going on, Jamie?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy to be here. Been a long day, so I apologize for arriving a little bit late, but I have some good news.
Ooh.
I was actually pleasantly surprised by the show. I've actually enjoyed it quite a bit so far. I think like out of all of the Marvel shows, this one kind of had the best start for me. Like it was fun, it was light, but there were serious moments. And I don't know. I'm digging it.
Me too.
I'm just saying I was hurt by you saying you were pleasantly surprised, meaning you weren't looking forward to it.
Well, I told y'all that. I wasn't like, I didn't have high expectations for
Joanne,
this show.
stop playing
I didn't think it was going to be bad or anything.
Bro,
Yeah,
I swear, I don't know
show.
what Hawkeye ever did to you guys, but I promise
I
he's a
dislike
really cool
Hawkeye.
character.
He's just like, he wasn't on my radar or anything because like
That's
Marvel
okay.
didn't show him a whole lot of
It's
love.
obviously
You
a
know?
branding issue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like even they mentioned the show, branding.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it was.
Yeah.
The fact that Kate's like, look, there's somebody dressed up as you, and it's just like, no, that's not me. That's not me. Nobody ever dresses up like Clint. That's not me. Come on now. All right, let's move on. That's too funny. Let's move on. Okay, so Jamie, I want to ask you. So Clint obviously comes in, saves the day. Walk me through your reaction when Clint rips off the mask and he's just like, God, come on, like really? I thought it was somebody I could boom, kill, done, go home, have a great Christmas with my family. It's a kid. What are you doing? Like, why? Like, what were your thoughts seeing that moment?
To be honest with you, the very beginning of the second episode, I was low-key like kind of not asleep because of the show, asleep because I've been driving all day. So I don't vividly remember his reaction to it. So it probably means like nothing really shocking happened for me there. But it was kind of fun to see like, oh my gosh, because like you already know like he's gonna go through the ringer, especially with like the rest of the episode. So that was just like the start of many disappointments probably for him.
And it's funny because a lot of people were saying like it gave them Die Hard vibes, but it's giving me the Die Hard movie where Justin Long is in it. Live Free Die Hard. And it was very much, John, you have to work with this kid to save the day. And he's just like, you got to give me somebody else, anybody else but this kid. I don't want to babysit. And it's essentially what Clint's feeling, not knowing how prepared Kate is for this. He's kind of just like, I just left kids. Like, I wasn't looking to come meet another child. Like, this is too much, you know? And we've all had that moments. Anyone with a younger sibling is always just like, hey, I'm going out, watch him. And it's just like, fuck, you can't take them with you? Like, I don't wanna, you know? So Clint had that for sure. But no, I thought that was like, really... Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jamie.
I was just gonna say, I feel like there's also kind of like because he saw what she did on the news, so he knows that she's not like a complete newbie to this. So there could be like, I don't know, maybe he saw some potential where it's like, oh, like she's a kid, like there's definitely a lot of things she doesn't know. She's gonna be asking me questions about stuff, trying to learn and stuff. Oh my god. But
I would.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
But I was just gonna say, I don't know. I think there's definitely like that frustration of like, oh, okay, I'm definitely gonna be involved with this person for a while. But
yeah, I'm tied to her now. Like,
yeah.
Which, by the way, Joel, Mr. E says you're a scroll. You're a scroll.
It's definitely me.
The person who does not want scrolls is 100% the person that
only a scroll would try to talk so much shit about scrolls. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I really did like how the first episode kind of panned out. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to me, just seeing Kate really develop is what I enjoy, because it was a fast develop to where it's kind of just like, here's Kate. And I didn't feel like they skipped any steps. It was just like, yeah, that is how you should transition for a lot of these new characters. It should go that seamless, because think about it. Spider-Man kind of transitioned in Civil War. We got literally his entire backstory in dialogue in that one movie. I know a lot of people think it wasn't. We even got a form of with great power comes great responsibility from Tony. So he got the whole kit and caboodle in that. So when you got to Homecoming, just let Spider-Man be Spider-Man.
Which I'm totally fine with. Like Kate's introduction into the MCU. Like, I don't think, and I don't know if I'm speaking for everyone here, but I didn't need like a whole backstory, like show or anything like that. I'm actually super happy they met in the first episode. I was thinking it was going to be one of those things where like halfway through the season or even later that's when Clint and Kate would interact with each other. But it's like, no, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. We all know what we're here for, and let's just do it.
Yep, I'm 100% with you. I really don't think many characters need that slow, methodical build. That's something you do for television, not even streaming. You do that on legit television, where the first season is you building up your hero. Well, if you're telling me you only get 8 episodes, that should be nixed in the first one. Like, I understand who they are, what they stand for. Now I need to see their journey of becoming that hero. But with a TV show that has 20-something episodes, that's so much space for you to just expand the story. In 8 episodes, get to it.
Well, and especially like what? This has 6 episodes?
6,
Am I?
6.
Yeah. That's so small. Even though these, I don't know if you noticed, these episodes are definitely longer than most of the series that we've gotten. But like, using an example like Daredevil had 13 episodes. We were able to kind of take our time a little bit more. There is no taking time here. It's 6 episodes. Let's just go.
Right. Like, yeah, this is something that you can't go, oh man, I missed episode 8. No biggie. Like, no. It's only 6 episodes. So each of the 6 are crucial to the story. There's not an episode that you'll see that's just like, oh, who cares? So obviously we see Clint drops but Kate takes Clint to her aunt's house that's vacated. She's not there. She's out of town, I think she said, for the holidays. And Clint says, all right, I'm going to go get that suit. So I make sure no one else can take this suit. So as he goes back to Kate's place that the Tracksuit Mafia completely set on fire with the Molotov cocktails, we see that the suit was taken. And we find out that he has... Go ahead, Trayvon. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, every time I talk about this suit, I just can't help think, like, where did he leave it? Why is it even available for them to sell? Like, why would you leave that suit anywhere? Like, you knew what you did with it.
To be fair, think about this. He was Ronin. He was Ronin.
Yeah.
Natasha came and grabbed him and said, "We got a way to bring your family back." They then went to go bring the family back. So the suit was in the compound. They saved the day. He got his family back. At no point was he thinking about that suit. So that's why when he saw it,
was a mess.
yeah, that was a tough few days for Clint. It's where it was just like, I'm gonna murder every bad person on earth because I have nothing else to do. And then it's, hey, you want your family back? And it's like, whoa, excuse me? You know what I'm saying? Like, he lost Natasha, he lost Stark. He was having a moment with Wanda and then completely forgot about it when he got his family back. Like, a lot was happening in Clint's world. He lost his hearing. He was a busy man to be worrying about that suit. So I think, if anything, he was hoping it blew up with the explosion at the facility,
right?
More or less.
It was probably
so that's why he wasn't thinking about it.
Right.
Oh, and shout out to Clint's wife. He's like, "Hey, I got shit to do. Like, this is gonna take longer." She's like, "I mean, be careful, I guess. I mean, you've been doing this."
She's down.
She's so chill, man. She's been used to this. Like,
she's been doing it a long time.
Very well.
Bro, she disappeared and still isn't worried about nothing. Like, she disappeared, came back, and was just like, "You got more avenging to do. Go do your thing."
Right. She's like, "Oh, you got like 5 more days, so just handle your business."
You got 2 more days about it. Don't even worry about it. Meanwhile, the daughter's about to pull her hair out. She's just like, "Do I need to be worried again? Because last time I disappeared. I was gone." Like, should I know something? And it's like, no, you're good. You're good. It's okay. So
the wife's just happy that the wife's just happy that she gets time to watch her shows. She's like, "Oh yes," because Clint's always doing renovations in the house. It must be noisy and shit like that. She gets some peace and quiet. The kids are out. She's loving it.
That's for sure. She was enjoying that time. She was enjoying that time not having to be a mom. And then as soon as Clint came back and was just like, "Hey, I gotta drop him off and go to work," she's like, "Damn, they can't go with you?" No? Okay. Right.
No.
Forget I asked. Sorry, that was stupid. I even love the line where he's just like, "All right, do me a favor. Watch over your brothers, especially the little one." And then immediately they're like, "Shit, where is he?" Like, where did he go?
Typical sibling shit.
I love that. That was legit my favorite line of these two episodes. Just like, make sure you keep track of your brother. Shit, where is he? Like, oh, there he is. Okay, come on. Don't get lost. But also, I am really curious, and this isn't important at all, but how does Clint make money now that there's no shield?
Probably the same way Falcon was way making money. Whatever their thing was.
I thought Falcon was saying he wasn't making money. Yeah,
well, before Star. And he was retired. He probably has a whole bunch of saved money too.
That is true.
Maybe he has investments. Who knows? He's a farm.
Clint looks like he's maybe a repairman. Smart with his money.
I mean, look, put him in that black truck. I was like, huh.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, a little bit balling. Like, yeah, because it's funny because when you look at how Parole went for Clint and then how it went for Scott, right? And then you just look at it, you're like, Scott had no money. Clint has black armored cars and whatnot, and it's just like, where can you get this money from, Clint?
He was an assassin too, right? So
that is
right.
I mean, probably sold the suit. We're gonna find out. They got the suit.
Just like Natasha got money too. So
wait, hold on, Javon. I love you saying that because I'm just picturing him having Christmas, right, with his kids and them not getting the gifts that they want. And he's just like, "Bro, do you know how many necks I had to snap to get the money to even get you what I got? I killed half of Japan for you kids." You know what I'm saying? Like, the rest of the money's in your college fund. Shut up. All right, let's move on. So obviously in episode 2, Kate is looking more into not only trying to become like a sidekick to Clint, but she's also trying to investigate more into her future stepdad. So I actually want to start with this. Jamie. Walk me through your thoughts of Clint in a Renaissance fair.
Oh my god.
A LARPing match.
Okay.
I love how Clint's just like, "Hey, what do I need to do?" And it's just like, just play along. It's just like, bro, just get this over with and let me get out of here. But what were your thoughts, Jamie?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was different, than having to be like oh, like, dress up and like act natural in the club, you know what I'm saying? Or just like, I don't know, it was a very different activity to try and like get in there. You're like, hey, that's my suit, take it off. And he's like, hey man, just let me win real quick. Like I thought that was funny. It's kind of, it makes me see Clint as more as like a personable person. Like he's not just gonna be like, hey, F y'all, like I don't care about LARPing. I'm just gonna walk in here, take my suit and go. I don't care if y'all are firefighters, police, SWAT, I will take y'all down. Like it makes him seem like a much more reasonable person.
Yeah, absolutely could have though.
100%. And as Kate mentioned to him, it did a number for his street cred as far as building up a fan base for Hawkeye. Because it was a really cool moment. Regular people can't say an Avenger just showed up to their event and hung out and got to do stuff with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Tony would have never done that. So it was one of those, because he is more so of your everyday kind of guy, Clint. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The guy that can just walk the street and no one's like, that's Hawkeye. Like, I don't fucking know. I didn't know who you are. So to know
no one cares about Hawkeye.
To know who Hawkeye
has a whole show,
and they have a
whole ass show.
Yeah, super show, and he's still alive. Anyway, but yeah.
Wow.
Never
yeah, I'm gonna go there.
That's because some Avengers are actual real heroes. But go ahead, Joanne. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that this like Clint doing that did kind of remind me of like some of the missions in Miles Morales, where you're just like connecting with the people in the community and like, oh, my cat's missing, like, okay, I'll help you out. Or there was a mission where there was a girl who was deaf, and like Miles was talking with her like through sign language. And I'm like, oh, that's really sick. And it kind of reminds me of just like that kind of community building activity. So
I mean, what's even more cool about this for Clint is if you read any Hawkeye comics, he's just always either a spy or an agent. So it's never time to actually be just the everyday guy or the family guy or anything like that, because he's just always doing something. So to have a story of Clint's life where it's kind of just downtime, obviously now it's not, but he was in just downtime, right? Where he could just be
interfering with downtime.
Right, now it's interfering with downtime. But no, I really do appreciate that. And that's a really good point, Jamie, to where it's kind of just like, that's what makes Miles special. But that's the whole persona of Peter and Miles, is that you are the everyday guy. You are someone that a kid can look at and go, I could be just like that guy. Like I could do that, minus the radioactive spider, but everything else. So that's what's important about them. But Clint looks like he's kind of hacking into that a little bit. Cause like you said, he could have showed up, just slapped everybody, took the suit, went home. He said, no, there's just a better way to do this. I'm more chill. Yeah, I'm more chill now. If you had seen Clint from a few years ago, I would have killed you, but I'm cool.
I think he even said at one point, like, like, I'm just trying to respect what y'all going on here, but please just give me my suit. I'm out of patience.
Right. But yeah, so I mean, I enjoyed that side of Clint, because we've never really seen that side of Clint. So that was really interesting to see. So Dom, I want to go to you. So we get I almost said jousting again. It's fencing. Why do I want jousting so bad? Anyway,
it sounds better.
It just does, right? It does. But the fencing match, that was in episode 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was.
She was crying. And then they got into it. Then they both
had a very uncomfortable dinner. Very uncomfortable. Which, by the way, I've had that dinner, not where I was just stepdad, obviously, but where someone was coming into me and my sister's life. And it does sometimes get uncomfortable, because it's kind of just like, well, what do you do?
Right.
Okay. How did you meet my mom? At a store. All right. Can I be excused, Mom? Like, this is really like, I don't want to be here, So it was really interesting to see Kate use that as an interrogation. She was just missing the spotlight lamp to put on his face. But Dom, walk me through that, and walk me through how calm, cool, and collected this guy was. He had an answer for everything, literally everything. He was so suave. Walk me through it, Dom.
No, that's a guy. The guys who normally like that, who kind of have that like car salesman vibe, and they have an answer for everything. They're hiding something. She's right. Like he knows something or knows too much. He's like, I'm an open book. But are you though? If you're an open book, you would have been like, hey, I'm prolific at fencing, but he was trying to hide it. Clearly, you're not an open book. But no, I like that she was pressing him like that. Like she was like, look, you're in my crib with my mom's. Like, you gotta pass some tests, bro. Like, I need some answers. We gonna squabble real quick, and you know they can't fist fight, so we gonna pull out the swords. But no, it's very interesting because we get to see he's showing some his cards right now, you know, and you could tell the mom, I feel like she knew, like she knows more about him than she lets on. I would assume that they are possibly in cahoots more than just like, you know, oh, we love each other. It's probably a power, like Prince from over here, Princess from here, get married to to make some big family. But she knew, like, he can handle himself, but she's like, hey, don't hurt him. I want my fiance to, like, you know, with all four limbs. Shut up. Like, you know what's going on.
What's funny is so episode 2 started, but I had like passed out. So I woke up and saw the part where Kate is fencing the fiance and the mom is standing on her side. And at first I was like, did they already reveal the bad guy? What's going on? Like, what the heck? It is, I don't know. The mom just gives me weird vibes too.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
Everything's weird, and Kate she's just there, like she don't have to play Harriet the Spy, Carmen Sandiego, Sherlock Holmes, like she don't have to figure it out all by herself.
She has to be everybody, man.
Yeah.
Veronica Mars.
Yes, Veronica Mars. You can throw Veronica in there.
That's the
no,
one
but I mean, I'm with you, Dom, because here's the funny thing. The mom is putting on such a show, and Kate is so blinded by it. Because remember the line that Kate told her when she was young of, no, I have to protect you. And it's like, I think you got this wrong. That's my job. I protect you. And it's like, no, I'm going to become strong enough to protect you. So her senses aren't where they need to be because she's looking at it from a daughter standpoint rather than what she's going to become at some point, which will be an Avenger. She's blinded right now. So she's just like, yeah, Mom, did you know that he's really good at this and that? And meanwhile, in her head, she's just like, yeah.
I'm waiting for that turn when the mom's like, yes, I knew all of it.
Yes, I can't wait for the line where the mom's like, yes. And we've killed so many people together. Yeah. Like, know exactly who he is. Yeah.
And what was throwing me off too when it like, so the little tracksuit dudes, they know that Kate's last name is Bishop. And that she is like, the mom's somewhat powerful in the city in some capacity in the underworld. How are they not putting 2 and 2 together? Maybe they were putting 2 and 2 together and they're like, no, we need to get rid of her. That way we get her to come out of the shadows or something.
By the way, one thing you guys should know about the Tracksuit Mafia. If you were to create if you were to put a picture next to the word stupid, Tracksuit Mafia would be there as a group, just smiling because they don't even realize what they're smiling for. So I 100% understand how they're not smart enough.
I kind of figured that when like they grabbed Ronan and was like, "This is Ronan." No, Ronan's not 5'2". What are you talking about?
To be fair, also, what was also weird about her getting in there, if you look at those two stand like next to each other, their heights aren't drastically off.
That's true.
Which is what I thought was unique about how she was able to just fit in the suit. Was the idea that their body structures aren't that off. So I don't know if that was a compliment to Jeremy Renner or if he should feel like, wait a minute, what y'all trying to say? Hold on now. But no, I mean, to me, it's one of those things where it's like, I feel as though they're setting the table, right? They're not trying to make us think too much of anything. We know who the players are.
Yeah.
It's all about how they reveal it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do believe that Kate's mother, Eleanor, is Madame Mask. That's why I have Madame Mask up here. I think she's Madame Mask. And anyone that knows Madame Mask, she has powers in the comics. I do not believe Eleanor has powers. I just believe she's very skillful. All the stuff that Kate was learning is stuff that either at the same time she was learning, or she was teaching Kate some of this stuff because she does have a different background than maybe what even Kate knows about her mom. I mean, I'll even ask you this, Dom. Actually, I'll ask everybody who wasn't on when we first started. Dom, do you think Eleanor killed the dad?
Yes, 100%. we saw nobody. They was already arguing. She knows that like he has more say with when it comes to Kate than she does, because when she heard the sound, she's like, no, like you go, because she don't like me. Like, yeah, there's clear, and she didn't seem very like broken up about it. Like, oh man, he died.
Yeah. And remember, when they were running out, Kate's just like, what happened to dad? And there was just nothing. And then you get to the funeral, and it's kind of just like, yeah, it sucks, right, Kate?
I honestly don't think she cares so much about Kate. I mean, when the explosion happened, she wasn't really looking for like a mom would look for her daughter. Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, where were you at?
Screaming of like,
screaming.
Yeah. She's like, I think there was an explosion in your apartment, as if she heard like she spilled wine on the carpet or something. Like that was a much bigger deal than you're playing it off to be.
Yeah, do you know how?
No, go ahead, T. I'm sorry.
Do you know how much that carpet cost? You always get another kid. Jeez.
That is very true. But I remember when my mom's house flooded. Like, I remember how terrified I was for my PlayStation 2 at the time. So I'm like, when you really care about something, you rush through anything to go get it. I would have swam through electrical wires and everything for that PS2. But yeah, no, I didn't even think of it like that, Dom, because you didn't hear her screaming for Kate or anything. It was kind of just like she was running out, and then she was just like, no, I don't need keys. Shit, Kate. Like, Kate, where are you? And it's like, Mom, did you forget me? Almost.
She was down there putting the chokehold on the pops.
One day, yeah, she was die. Jamie, do you feel the same? You think the mom did it?
Absolutely. Like, I felt that from the moment I saw that scene. I'm like, why is the mom taking so long to find Kate? Like, that's weird. And then like only she showed up. She's like, Mom, where's dad? She doesn't even answer. She's like, we don't care about him, honey. Like, let's just go out the door. Like, it's too late for him.
She's like, Dad who?
Yeah, like, who are you talking
the guy
about?
I was just here with. Like, what are you talking about?
But
yeah,
I definitely did something to him.
I want to give the writers a lot of credit, because just the dialogue of dad coming in the room, having that conversation, and then going, I'll be downstairs in the office if you need me. Then Kate goes into the kitchen with Mom. And when Mom says, go get checkers, I'll be right there. She makes sure she says, I'm running downstairs. I'll see you. Go get the checkers. So they were making sure you knew where both parents were at the time of that explosion. And then they made sure you noticed only one of them came back up. Like, and then when Eleanor came up, she didn't have no scratches from debris, nothing. She was clean. So that means she put 2 in the chest and then ran upstairs. Daddy,
it kind of makes me think, like, if the attack hadn't happened, like, how would that have played out as far as she's like, oh my God, your dad, what happened?
Like, you know, sorry, honey, he slipped and fell.
Yeah, to hit every stair on the way down.
I didn't think of it like that, Jamie. I didn't think of it like that. When the explosion happened, she was just like, oh, this is perfect. I can easily, and no one will question it.
No questions.
But picture if it was just a small tremor and then it stopped and she's halfway shanking him, and Kate comes down and it's like, oh, damn. Like, you weren't supposed to see this. Like, I thought it was an earthquake. What were you saying, Trayvon?
I was gonna ask, like, what about Madame Mask, like, what are her powers, or like maybe she does have abilities. And that's why she had no scratches.
I kind of prefer that she doesn't, because that's a whole nother lane you would have to dive into. And I kind of want this character to be something that's for this show, and I don't really need to care about going forward. But Madame Mask had some kind of like It was an
That's okay, we'll come back
experiment
to
that
it.
she was part of and got some kind of, I can't remember what it was exactly, but Madame Mask does have ability. I don't think Eleanor does though. But the only reason why I'm, say it again, Joel.
No powers.
I thought she had powers.
No, she's just good. She's skilled hand-to-hand combatant, expert markswoman, master strategist, and proficient with robotics.
Then there you go.
Okay.
It leans even more into why I think she's 100% Madame Mask.
It did kind of show, like, in the intro sequence for the first episode, like her and Kate were both, I think, doing archery at the beginning, and then it started focusing more on like Kate's athletic activities. So,
and something to pay attention to, in Kate's room, there was like 1 million trophies, right? Kate didn't get all those trophies. Some of those were 100% Eleanor's. And there was even one photo of Eleanor doing like a handstand on like a canyon or some junk. So there's more to Eleanor than for sure meets the eye. But also in the comics, Madame Mask did have a very close relationship to Eleanor Bishop. So I'm like, it does make sense for the MCU to just make them one person. And also Madame Mask did have run-ins, Tia, with Kingpin. So in the scene I was telling you about for the auction in the comics, she had a file on Hawkeye of him killing like this ambassador overseas or something, and it was an auction to sell that off for the highest bidder, and she was the person selling it, and Kingpin is who bought it.
You guys are gonna see me like turning into Joanne for Hawkeye. Feel like, come on, Kingpin.
Well, I tell you this, Tia. I tell you this, from the looks of it, Kingpin in this seems way more likely than Mephisto in WandaVision.
It's really funny. I actually saw something on Twitter today that it was just being stupid, obviously, but it was like showing pictures of Hawkeye and Kate together and someone drawing like an M over them. And they're like, look, they confirm Mephisto.
I hate the world. I hate all of it. All right, let's read a few more comments before we wrap up our review here. I agree with Tia. I'm glad they got to the point with Kate's origins. I'm really digging how this was shot with the feel of a movie instead of a show. I got the same vibe from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But I tell you what, all these shows have movie budgets, so they should all feel like.
But I do agree with that comment, though, because that was very much my feeling for these first 2 episodes. Because WandaVision, yes, while they all have movie budgets, WandaVision clearly felt like a television show, as did Loki, and even to a degree, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Even though it had very much like the Winter Soldier vibes to it. Hawkeye definitely feels like you're actually watching an Avengers film. So I like that. I like the feel of it.
For sure. Mr. E says here, this is definitely for you, Trayvon. He was responding to what you said earlier. He goes, he went from losing his family to becoming a vigilante and killing criminals to teaming up with a talking raccoon to traveling to a different planet and watching his friend die. He had a lot to take in.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
There was a lot. And I could just tell you right now, if I met a talking raccoon, I'd forget so much about life in that moment. That'd be the only thing I'd remember for forever. All right, and then we got here. Wait, their name is the Tracksuit. Yes, their name is the Tracksuit Mafia. It's very simple. They wear tracksuits. They're a mafia. It's literally.
He says it in that show. Tracksuit Mafia.
And for people who aren't familiar with the comics, when you see bro on the van and you hear them say bro a lot, they literally do that in the comic books. Every sentence ends with the word bro. That is not something they made up for the show. They do that in the comic books. It's
we love simple bad guys.
Would you say, Dom?
I was like, yeah, clearly they're like cliches.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yes, for sure. That's why I said when I was saying to you that they're super stupid. But that's leaning more to the cliche of them. Yeah, they're all big jocks, so they're supposed to be stupid.
I am curious about Kazi though, because I know Frafi is like a pretty well-known actor, and I know they're not gonna use him as like a throwaway with the tracksuit Mafia, so I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with him.
I'm trying to think.
Because he seemed like the only one who was really about it. You know, he was like had the mask on, he's taking it off, and he's searching for Kate. And
he's super in the comics. He's super crazy. Me and Joel are actually just talking about this. He's super crazy. So to bring this collective together is very interesting. Now, the one thing we have not talked about, and Joel, I want you to lead this conversation. No one's really talking about this because I think a lot of people just don't know. In the comics, Duquesne was a mentor to Hawkeye. He does also later then become like teams up with the Avengers. He's a very weird character that they kind of just splice into everything. Yeah. But he was a mentor. So Joel, my question to you is, are we going to have this moment where Kate's like, yes, I finally got the evidence to bring him down. And then Hawkeye's like, who? And then he sees Duquesne and it's like, no fucking way. Like, no, out of all people. So do you think we'll get that connection, or do you think that might be the one thing they leave out?
I don't know. Usually, I mean, he is a character, like you said, that is connected to Hawkeye. Like you said, he trained him actually when he was a kid. He trained him in sword usage. He was raised in weirdly enough, circus, like most people, right? So he was a carny. So he was trained there, and he was really close with him. And I believe he stole something from the ringmaster or whatever the shit, and he turned on them. And that's when I think he almost killed Clint, and he didn't. And then he came back, and then he became Hawkeye after that. Because Hawkeye originally was not a hero to start. Right. You know what I mean? That was later. But yeah, that was his first. Like he was his mentor, like you said. So I don't know. Will they keep that relationship? Will we come back and find out that there's the actual connection between Clint and Jack? I hope. Honestly, I hope, because that'd be really cool. Why use him? You know, could use anybody at that point, right?
Yeah.
But I hope it is. But we'll see. I mean, maybe there is a connection. I hope there is.
Because to me, I kind of feel like if you put him in the show and he's this important, it has to be the double-edged sword. The sword of Kate's future stepdad being the one she's trying to take down, only for Clint to go. Because they could change it, Joel, to where, like you said, Duquesne, instead of killing Clint, spared him. So there's always that I owe you one kind of feel.
Right.
And Clint kind of is torn of like, I can't let Kate down, but I also can't not cash in on the favor that I owe. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's going to be something more intertwined between that.
Yeah.
I really do hope so, because that's the fight I want to see. I don't want to see Kate versus him. I want to see Kate versus Eleanor. I want to see Clint versus Duquesne. That's what I want to see, because their skill levels should match. One shouldn't be tremendously better than the other. Right. There just shouldn't be. Because Jack looks like he's in amazing shape. Clint has had more John McClane moments than I can count, where he just rolls over and he's just like, I hurt everywhere. Like, I'm in so much pain.
I do love that they gave him that role now in the MCU. He's the Jack McClane of the MCU.
Yes.
John McClane.
Yes, for sure. He definitely is that 100%. Sprinkled in with a little Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon. He's sprinkled in with a little bit of that. He is one more event like this away from. I'm just too old for this shit. Like, we might even get that as his sayonara when he gives the mantle away. I'm just too old for this shit. You have it. But T, I wanted to pose this question to you, because I know this is definitely something you're looking forward to. We know we only have 6 episodes. We're heading into our 3rd one next week. When do you think Yelena comes into play in all this chaos that's happening?
It's funny you say that, because obviously after seeing Black Widow, I was very excited to see Florence in Hawkeye, and see that dynamic. And I did get caught up with everything that was going on in the first 2 episodes that I almost forgot until I went to Twitter, and of course Yelena was randomly trending. And I sat there and was like, oh my God, that's right. She's going to come in. So where does she come in on this? Because I would like to see them dedicate some time to that. I don't want to just be like, she comes in 1 episode and, hits him a few times and that's it. Like, Yelena was very close to Natasha, and Yelena thinks that Hawkeye was maliciously responsible for Natasha's death. And it's like, so I need them to have this like comfort and this healing process and everything, and to, honor that. So I need that to happen. Although I'm not so sure it's going to happen in the next episode. When it happens, not if, right? But when it happens after episode 4. But again, I'm really hoping that it's not one thing where it's just one episode. Because I really want to see them interact with each other. I want to see where that goes,
Mm-hmm. I'm curious, and I'm glad you said that the way that you did, because I'm really curious, because me and Joel just had this conversation about people that want Daredevil and Echo's show. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things to where it's like, if you bring in something like that, that immediately takes away from who your show is about, because now the focus is on them for however many episodes or for however long they're in it. So to bring in Yelena, I'm curious how they do it, because she can't be in too long because the story is about Kate, not Clint. Right. So she can't be in there too long because there's no connection to Kate. And this story is to progress Kate. So I'm like, but then like you said, if you just bring it in for one episode, it seems cheap, where it's just like, right, here, really quickly, boom, done, tie it off in the knot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm curious.
We never know. We never know if Yelena then helps Kate out a little. Like, yes, I know that Kate is taking the Hawkeye mantle, so her huge mentorship is going to come from Clint. But, from a womanly bond thing, it would be cool to see Yelena and Kate have a little bit of a relationship too,
I would love that. And I would love Yelena to teach Kate, we don't do poses around here. There's a non-poser thing happening. You don't do a hero pose, Kate. But no, I'm really interested to see how that plays out, because again, and I want to go to you, Trayvon. We got at the end of the second episode, we got Echo, right? So the third episode will get more into Echo. So then that only leaves you 3 episodes left, and we all don't even believe Echo is the true villain of this season. So there's so much more to get into before even thinking about Yelena, but we know it'll be in here at some point. So Trayvon, I want to ask you, how did you feel in that moment leading up to us getting our reveal of Echo?
I knew somebody had to be behind those idiots. I was like, it's just they can't be the brains of any of this. So I don't like. I was like, okay, well, who's behind them? Like, ever since I heard about Echo, because this is the first time ever hearing about this character ever when this show came out and getting the show. I never heard of her before, and I was like, okay. And then I found out about the Kingpin connection, and I kind of wish like sometimes I don't watch some of these breakdowns once characters get announced, because then they just deep dive, and then I'm just like, my brain is spinning and thinking about, oh, is Kingpin in this auction at the beginning? Like, I just start thinking like that. And then and then you see her, I'm like, okay. And then it's like, damn it, the episode's over right here. Like, no, come on, man. And I got to wait a week. I was okay, fine, all right. But it's just, I'm excited to see, one, just how they do it. Because, I don't, how they're going to do a whole show of a character like this is going to be very interesting, and they need to be very careful with how they portray, like the sign language, everything. Like, I just want to see how they do it. Like, I just hope they do it well.
Well, I can just say this, and of course it's not the same people, but we see how well they handled Daredevil, right?
Yeah.
And we know how horribly the movie Daredevil handled Daredevil. So it's like, I think everyone at this point knows that if you're going to go into that, you know how careful to be. And to hire people, you know what I'm saying, the right people and whatnot. So I think they'll be completely amazing. I mean, even the fact that they're going the route of Clint starting to have his hearing affected shows you that they want the representation of all.
And they showed his youngest child using sign language for him.
Exactly, right.
He did it back. So, and the girl that's playing Echo is actually deaf.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so
And I think this show will end with her not a romantic one, but a true friendship with Hawkeye, connecting over that. I think there'll be some kind of connection between those two characters.
And when I saw, like, of course, in Eternals, Makari was
She's
very
dead.
much. I was like, okay. I was like, yeah. Then when I found out that, thought that was really cool too. I was like, okay, we're not just having somebody play that way. We actually have somebody that's really that way. That was really cool. I was like, it's really good that they're doing stuff like that. And I thought the sign language and the way they handled that was great in Eternals. So I was okay. So I just really just curious how they're gonna do it. Like, put the same care as they did into Makari for Eternals, which is just one movie. The fact they're giving Echo a whole show is, just interesting to me.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, Kevin Feige.
I hope Kingpin is connected.
Fingers crossed. And I did want to speak to that because you were saying the idea of like not wanting to watch the review shows to kind of stay organic and not have to. I will tell you guys, there is no better feeling than to have read these comic books and then actually see it come to life. All the information, all the plots, all the characters. There's no better feeling. And it's why, as you guys saw with WandaVision, I was so passionate because it's like they're literally acting out the scenes from books that I've read. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it is good to be surprised, but other times I just want the simplicity of it was in the book, you're putting it in here. You could spin it, but the main core of it should be here in the live action.
And a fun fact for people that don't know, Echo is the original Ronin.
Right.
Comic book. When she was introduced, Ronin was actually, then no one knew who Random Ronin was. They thought it was some guy. And when they finally introduced it, it was some girl named Echo, and Echo was obviously connected to Daredevil at the time. Then the suit is like in limbo. And then we see Ronin again in the future. Again, we don't know who it is. You might think it's Echo, but Echo's like not doing something else. Right. So we find out later it's actually Clint who's back to life. And he was at the time he was dead. We thought he was dead. Now he's back to life. He was and Kate was Hawkeye at the time, and he was letting her kind of run around in his shit. And that's really how that happened.
Okay.
Yeah. So like they're all connected deeply, these characters. So that's why it's like, again, fun to see it from the books float right into live action, and it seems so effortless the way that they do it. And listener Jim is asking, who is the big bad you tease us with, Juwan? So it was Eleanor. It was Eleanor Bishop as Madame Mask. I believe she is the true villain of this series. Because Jack Duquesne, like we already know, like if you know him, you already know who he is. So it's not like if he comes out in episode 4 and it's like, what? You kind of already got that. And even if you don't know who he is, Kate is painting a very vivid picture for you, So if he does come out, and by the way, let me just say, the way Marvel used to draw characters back in the day is hilarious. So the guy that they use as the henchman in Falcon and the Winter Soldier in the comics, he is very much a Frenchman with the whole twirling mustache and everything. So is Jack Duquesne. So I love the mustache that they kept, because he looks just like him. He looks just like him. And I'm telling you, if I don't get this by the time this series ends, I will be very disappointed. But yes, Eleanor Bishop is who I was teasing as Madame Mask. I do believe will become the big bad.
And again, how do you put Vera Farmiga in something and just don't let her shine like that?
Right. I mean, I thought when they casted her, like, just the mom, like I could see it just as the mom, but it's like you literally could have gotten anybody to just be the mom. It should mean something more.
Right.
It should.
Agreed. 100%.
Right. I told Joel, me and Joel were laughing. The only time we've ever been caught off guard was Ben Kingsley. That was the only time in MCU history they got that big of a name. And then it's just like, he's nobody. And it's like, what
sense does this make, Marvel?
I was so pissed off.
So because I tell you, it was the ultimate swerve. When you look back at it, and now we've had the actual Mandarin, you can appreciate it more. But in the moment, it's just like, that's not a fun swerve, Kevin. That's a horrible swerve.
I watched it one time.
Why? So that's really interesting. But last thing before we get out of here, Jamie, I want to start with you. Disney Plus Day, they did give us a snippet from what we can assume is episode 3. Is when we see Kate and Clint escape. And they have that big car chase. Now, I will say, anyone who read Matt Fraction's comic, that is literally shot for shot from that comic. There's not one thing outside of the car they choose that is different from that comic. But Jamie, when you see that, seeing how it looks in one continuous shot, how dope did that scene look?
I think it was pretty cool. I'm trying to remember I'll make sure I got the right thing.
It was the one where remember in the trailer where you see Kate ask him, like, you have arrows that are more dangerous than explosives. So it was that whole scene where she got a chance to fire some of his arrows.
Yeah. I'm excited to see it. I always like that kind of stuff. With like a Baby Driver and a little bit of probably more Kingsman too. I think they did more car scene stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to see like how they wiggle their way out of it and just the chaos of just like having to fight with car scenes. Always fun to watch, not fun to play in video games. So I will have the pleasure of not having to interact with that.
I love that. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of one continuous shots. It's something that not a lot of directors use, but it's the simplicity that's beautiful. We got it to start this episode where you see the Chitauri attack, and then when you see the half of the house exploding, from that point all the way to when her mom gets her, that's one continuous shot. And I love when they shoot it like that because the camera, it looks like it's just panning around her rather than from like a far distance. So that car scene looked like so much fun. And can I just say, and that's why I'm glad AJ's not on here, because that's all he would have spent the whole
low key. I was kind of like, dang, AJ's not gonna ref his girl. Like,
yeah,
ooh,
he wanted
going
to.
on there.
He's not home, so he was trying to do it on his phone and he couldn't. So I'll help you out, AJ. Haley Steinfeld was the only pick you could have gotten for Kate Bishop. It's just so natural. It's just so natural, the way what she brings to the character. Just seeing in that little teaser that they gave us of her shock of seeing what his arrows can do is just like she was just loving it, and all she wants is to be like Clint. She wants to be a hero, and she found Clint in a point in his life where all he wants to do is not be a hero. So you have the conflicting of, I don't want to do this anymore, and she's like, I want nothing but to do this. So I love the contrasting of the two, and I think that's what will ultimately lead to him just going, take this shit, take the name, take the bows, take the arrows. I want no more of this.
He told her there were no trick arrows too. Yeah, okay.
Say it again, Trayvon.
She asked about trick arrows. He was like, there aren't any.
Yeah. Right.
Liar.
We already knew it was bullshit. But
right. I mean, even in the teaser, I'm like, Jeremy is so fucking hilarious. I love when she's just like, I'm driving, you're shooting, and he's like, I can't hear you. Like, I don't know what you're saying. And then she ends up having to be the one that shoots. But what were you gonna say, Jamie?
What was it? Oh yeah. I was thinking about like how could they introduce Florence, but also have like, because clearly Hawkeye is going to like retire from his role. Like, do you think Florence would actually like kill him, and then Kate's like, I have to take up the mantle now because Hawkeye's gone?
It's
as
definitely
a family
I highly doubt it. Yes,
it's definitely a route they could go, but again, with me thinking he's gonna have, I think he's gonna have a really big connection with Echo. So I'm like, they might want to use that card again for Echo's show, having another name to drive the show. Like, even if he's just like a guest appearance, like he's not actually like really a part of it. But no, I think it's as simple as you see all he wants to do is just be with his wife and kids. I think it's as simple as what Steve did. Steve didn't get killed. He just retired. So I think it's as simple as Clint just retires and hands it.
You have to remember, at the end of the day, he is a roach. He will never die. And it's because his haters keep him alive.
That is very true. If there's anything we learned about Kevin, If he knows you don't like something, he will be spiteful and make sure we get 90-year-old Hawkeye.
We're gonna get old man
Hawkeye.
Any old person, I tell you right now.
In that case, I love Clint Barton.
All right, we got it. Now that's a soundbite I'm taking. See, it just said it. Yeah, no, but I mean, if we notice the pattern here, and this is why I don't think he's going to die, Jamie. We see the replacement starting, right? We know Riri's coming, right? We got She-Hulk coming, right? So it's pushing the OGs more into the background, in these newer versions more to the forefront. So I think it's less about we need to kill them and more about
War Machine too. Like I know Riri's coming, but like let's not like forget that War Machine is still around.
I don't forget that, but I also do believe if Tony could hand the keys to anyone, it wouldn't be Rhodey.
That's his best friend.
He's in the government. He's in the government. Can't trust him.
I think Tony would go, child. Yes, child. Take the keys.
You don't even know this child.
But you know what? Tony would
the
do
glasses.
Yeah.
Tony would do that. He loves
Tony
Peter.
would do that. And Rhodey would totally understand. He'd be like, yeah, that's Tony.
He gave it to Peter. That's the thing. You know?
Rhodey's probably pissy to get those glasses. Like, really?
To be fair, Steve left.
The kid.
Steve left Sam his most prized possession.
That's true.
Tony just died. Like there was nothing to be left to Rhodey. Just like, hey, I love you. Pepper got you.
But like I said, like the glasses, like they were saying to Peter. You know?
Yeah. So yeah, he would have left it to Peter for sure. But Feige tweaked that. Joel is right. If they're following the actual Tony Stark, he would have left everything to Rhodey. But because Feige set this world up to where Peter is like the new of that, it was to be left to Peter. But realistically, he would have left it to Rhodey for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think that.
I don't think so. Maybe
don't nobody love Rhodey. Don't nobody love Rhodey.
I love Rhodey.
I love Rhodey.
I love that you
stop
guys
disrespecting Rhodey.
I love that we all won't let each other hate on anything. Like anytime someone says, "Hey, I don't like this," someone else comes and is like, "No, I love it." You know, shut your mouth. I love it.
Yeah, I love Rhodey.
But I do want to thank Disney. Me and Tia got a chance to review these. The first 2 episodes, that's all we've seen. So the 3rd episode we'll be watching is brand new as everybody else. They've done an amazing job on this show so far.
Yeah,
an amazing job. And it's crazy because, like Joel said, we will get No Way Home, and then Hawkeye will end the year for us on the Marvel side of things. And then it'll be real curious to see what the very next show is. I'm praying it's Moon Knight, but we don't know because I thought it was going to be Miss Marvel come March. I thought she was going to come out in March.
Yeah.
So for them pushing it back to the summer, I don't know what's next. I don't know. We could be off of the MCR for a while.
Yeah.
You know,
don't say that.
No, I'm just saying it seems like Feige doesn't have anything for the first quarter. So there could be no MCR until 2nd, maybe 3rd quarter of next.
It's gonna be Daredevil.
It'll be Morbius.
Well, that's Sony. We can do reviews.
I don't know. Look a little connected.
It's gonna be revealed. It's a Daredevil series first quarter, and then the Punisher.
I would love an announcement. I would love that.
I tell you what, Tia, if Feige was able to film Daredevil in complete secrecy, that is easily the greatest achievement that man has ever had.
Kevin Feige can do it. He can do it.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree because, again, I'll tell you, none of us knew Nick Fury was in Iron Man 1. Nobody knew he was in there. Samuel Jackson was saying how they put, when he got out of the limo, they would put like something over him, walk him in, he would shoot it, put it over him, walk him back to the car, and he was gone. So at no point I don't think anyone knew. Because I knew when we went to the theater, everyone was just like, no fucking way. And then when he said the initiative, it was just like, no way. What? No. What? Like, I was so blown away. I'm like, no way you're building Avengers.
That's when the nerdgasms were born. That's
I'm telling you.
The birth.
Because anyone who knew, it was just like, no. Because you've just never seen it before in movie history. Ever. Where they're coming together? No, that was just
so So you never know what might happen in the first quarter, but let's not even think about that. We will be back next week with another MCR. Let's not even think about not having an MCR. Although I do like Jamie's idea.
Absolutely. So yes, guys, we will be back next week for an all new episode of Hawkeye. I can't wait to see all you guys back again for us to break it down. And for hopefully for Tia's sake, a little bit more breadcrumbs leading to Kingpin. You know what I'm saying?
Please,
a little
please.
Bit.
Same.
Like heck, I'm waiting for them to catch us completely off guard, like a flashback scene for Echo, where she's with Wesley.
Oh
you know
my God.
Like I'd lose my mind. Just something simple like that. She's with
Just a little breadcrumb.
Oh man, goodness.
You know,
right, we gotta
John? Yeah.
We gotta end this. Me and Tia can talk about this forever. All right, thank you, Joelle, Dom, Trayvon, Tia, Jamie, everybody in the comment section of our live. We thank you so much for keeping conversation with us. We appreciate you. You guys have been doing awesome. Almost all of our MCRs are above 100 views. So keep doing what you guys are doing. You're doing really well. So thank you guys very much. But till next time, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh my God.
God.
You know, sorry, hold on. We can't end yet. Because Hawkeye is Christmas, it's completely thrown me off. Happy holidays, everybody. Have a safe, fun, and loving holiday. Be safe. Please be safe. Enjoy your holidays and save some food for me. Mail me some food. Airdrop me food.
I'll send you a plate.
Yeah, send me a plate for sure. Everybody.
Whether you celebrate or not, eat some good food tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Just in general, eat some good food.
Have a good dinner if you don't even acknowledge the holiday.
Yeah, just
well. Don't eat pizza tomorrow. Don't eat pizza tomorrow. All right, guys. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the holidays, and we'll see you next week.